today. So this is episode 10 of our channel. Hindi ko inakala na abot tayo ng episode 10. But here we are. And for today's video, we will discuss mala inse and mala prohibita. These are also concepts that will be discussed in your first part of your criminal law journey. So criminal law 1 yan. And this is also included in the syllabus of the 2026 bar exams in criminal law. So in this lecture, you will expect to see some discussions on mala inse and mala prohibita. And then isisingit na natin yung intent to commit the crime and intent to perpetrate the act. And we will be discussing some concepts, some mga takeaways only of these cases, the case of Acheron versus People, 2021 Anbang case, the case of Estrada versus Sandigan Bayan, a 2001 case, Matalam versus People, 2016 case, and lastly, the case of Galliano versus People, a 2024 case. So let us start. So to begin with, when you hear of mala inse, it means that the act is wrong in itself or evil in itself. Compare it with mala prohibita, which is an act considered wrong because it is prohibited by law. So if in mala inse, it refers to actions that are inherently immoral and universally recognized as wrong. Whereas mala prohibita crimes, it refers to actions that are illegal or considered criminal solely because a specific statute or law forbids them rather than because the act is inherently immoral or evil. So those are your definitions of those terms. So here is a table that I prepared. Again, if it's a mala inse, it is inherently wrong or immoral. Mala prohibita, they're only wrong because they are prohibited by law. In mala inse, criminal intent or the mens rea, the guilty mind, is required, as held in the case of Matalang. So in mala inse crimes, intent governs. Okay? Whereas in mala prohibita crimes, malice or criminal intent is immaterial, as held in the Matalam case. So we discussed mens rea in episode 9 of our lecture series. Since criminal intent is required in mala inse, then good faith or lack of criminal intent is a defense. Okay? And the same is not true in mala prohibita crimes because good faith is not a defense in those crimes. Now, mala inse crimes are generally found in the revised penal code. So your felonies are considered mala inse. But not all, this is just a general rule. Because there are also mala inse crimes found under special penal laws, as we will be discussing later. Okay? And likewise, mala prohibita crimes are found under special penal laws as a general rule. But there is a malum prohibitive crime found under the revised penal code, the crime of technical malversation as held in the case of Isidoro versus People. So before kasi you will encounter, may mababasa ka na kapag sinabing mala inse crime, automatic felonies na yan or felonies lang yan. That's wrong. Because mala inse crimes may be defined under special penal laws. So kung ganun pala, then we can conclude that there is a mala inse offenses. Okay? And mali din yung lahat ng mga mala prohibita crimes are found under special penal laws. That's wrong. Kasi at least nga may isa, no, decided by the Supreme Court, case of Isidoro, ang sabi, meron tayong mala prohibita crime sa RPC, sa Revised Penal Code. and that is technical malversation. Now, in the case of Estrada versus Sandigan Bayan, the Supreme Court held crimes malainse are those so serious in their effects on society as to call for almost unanimous condemnation of its members, while crimes mala prohibita are violations of mere rules of convenience designed to secure a more orderly regulation of the affairs of society. In the case of Acharon versus People, a 2021 Anbang case, the Supreme Court held that the crimes penalized under Section 5I and 5E of RA 9262 are mala inse and not mala prohibita, even though RA 9262 is a special penal law. Ito yung sabi natin kanina, na hindi porket offense siya, hindi porket nasa special penal law siya, then automatic mala prohibita crime na siya. That's wrong. Because here, Section 5I and Section 5E, these are offenses. Yet, the court ruled that they are classified as malainse crimes. Reason? Because according to the court, the acts punished here are inherently wrong or depraved, and the language used under the said special penal law requires a mental element. Being a crime, malainse, there must thus be a concurrence of both actus reus and mens rea to constitute the crime. Actus reus pertains to the external or overt acts or omissions included in a crime's definition, while mens rea refers to the accused guilty state of mind or criminal intent accompanying the actus reus. If you remember, we discussed in episode 9 that for a person to be liable under a felony, there must be actus reus and mens rea. Excuse me. So the external act, the guilty act, and guilty mind. And here, the court ruled that that requirement of having actus reus and mens rea is not only applicable to felonies. They may likewise be applied to offenses, provided that said offense is considered or classified as maluminse, such as Section 5I and Section 5E of RA 9262. The court continued, it bears emphasis that Section 5I penalizes some forms of psychological violence that are inflicted on victims who are women and children. In prosecutions under Section 5I, therefore, psychological violence is the means employed by the perpetrator, with denial of financial support as the weapon of choice. In other words, according to the court, to be punishable under Section 5I, it must ultimately be proven that the accused had the intent of inflicting mental or emotional anguish upon the woman, thereby inflicting psychological violence upon her, with the willful denial of financial support being the means selected by the accused to accomplish said purpose. That is for 5I. Let's go to 5E. The language of Section 5E is clear that the denial of financial support to be punishable must have the purpose or effect of controlling or restricting the woman's movement or conduct. To be sure, according to the court, Section 5E uses the word deprive, which, like the use of the word denial in Section 5I, connotes willfulness and intention. Diba? Criminal intent, mens rea, diba? So, pasok siya sa malang-inse. Thus, the denial or deprivation of financial support under Section 5E is therefore an intentional act that has for its purpose to control or restrict the woman's movement or conduct. The willful deprivation of financial support, therefore, is the actus reus of the offense, while the mens rea is the intention to control or restrict the woman's conduct. Thus, according to the court, similar to the discussion in Section 5I, Section 5E cannot be read as punishing the mere failure or one's inability to provide financial support, which is what happened in this case of Acheron. So, kailangan may evidence of actus reus and also mens rea. So here, the accused was acquitted because of the failure to prove yung guilty mind. Okay? So maybe we'll discuss the case of Acheron in a separate video because you need to check what are the acts involved and why did the Supreme Court rule that the element of mens rea was absent. Okay, so there. In the case of Estrada versus Andigan Bayan, a 2001 case, one thing that you need to remember from this case is that the court ruled that plunder is malum inse. Plunder is quite, you hear plunder a lot nowadays, no? In the news, it's a malum inse felony. Offense, sorry. So let's read the ruling of the court. The legislative declaration in RA number 7659 that plunder is a heinous offense implies that it is a malum inse. For when the acts punished are inherently immoral or inherently wrong, they are mala inse, and it does not matter that such acts are punished in a special law, especially since in the case of plunder, the predicate crimes are mainly mala inse. Indeed, according to the court, it would be absurd to treat prosecutions for plunder as though they are mere prosecutions of violations of BP 22, bouncing check law, or of an ordinance against jailwalking without regard to the inherent wrongness of the acts. So mas serious to, it's considered a mala inse offense. In the case of Matalam versus People, GR number 221849, 1850, it's a 2016 case. Ang takeaway lang natin dito is that the omission, diba, of non-remittance of GSIS and Pag-ibig fund premiums is malum prohibitum. So if it's malum prohibitum, good faith here is not a defense. But here, what the relevant laws punish, is the failure, refusal, or delay without lawful or justifiable cause in remitting or paying the required contributions or accounts. So pag yan, hindi na-remit to the concerned agencies and there's no lawful or justifiable cause, then the person who is responsible in remitting this will be held liable. And lastly, the case of Galliano versus People, GR number 230147, a February 21, 2024 case. The crime involved here is illegal possession and use of false treasury or banknotes, uh, punished under Article 168 in relation to 166 of the Revised Penal Code. So this is a felony. If you have time, read this case because this is a case where the accused possessed a counterfeit 1,000 peso bill, no, and tried to use it in betting in a lotto. So bumili siya ng ticket, ang pinambayad niya peke, peking 1,000 peso bill. Here the Supreme Court discussed mens rea. According to the court, it is a legal maxim which establishes a fundamental aspect of mala inse crimes, namely that ordinarily evil intent must unite with an unlawful act for there to be a crime. Thus, the existence of mala inse crime hinges on the concurrence of both actus reus and mens rea. The court continued, the classification of a crime as mala inse hinges not solely on the inherently wrong or depraved nature of the prohibited acts. It also requires that the penalizing law's language explicitly delineates the requisite mental element. Thus, in crimes mala inse, good faith and lack of criminal intent are available defenses. And the court ruled that the violation of Article 168, the one charged against the accused in this case, is a crime mala inse. The actus reus for this crime is captured in the first element, the use or possession of a false treasury or bank notes. Meanwhile, the mens rea is covered by the second and third elements, that the accused has knowledge of the counterfeit nature of the note, but nevertheless uses the same or otherwise possesses the same with intent to use. As such, jurisprudence has established that the possession of false treasury or banknotes alone is not punished under Article 168 of the Revised Penal Code. For it to constitute Said felony, the possession of false treasury or banknotes must be proved to be with intent to use said false treasury or banknotes. In other words, dapat merong intent to use the falsified note, and this is an integral element of said felony. So applying those principles in this case, the court ruled that the surrounding facts of the case belie the conclusion that the accused act of returning to the lotto outlet and handing over the fake 1,000 peso bill was attended by malicious intent. So the accused harbored no criminal intent. Again, no criminal intent, no mens rea. Instead, the facts tend to show that the accused's actions after being told that the bill was fake were all made in good faith. Again, in Malainse crimes, good faith is a defense. As earlier discussed, ayan, good faith is an available defense in crimes Malainse. This is because in such crimes, the penal act is only punished when the person committing it is morally blameworthy. And on the other hand, if a person commits actus reus without intending any wrongdoing, then there is no mens rea, there's no guilty mind that can fulfill the elements pertaining to the intent. So that's the discussion. In that case of Galliano, the accused there was acquitted of uh, the crime of violating 168, Article 168 of the Revised Penal Code. Now, it's also important to study the difference between the intent to commit the crime and intent to perpetrate the act. They are related to the doctrines or the concepts of mala insa and mala prohibita. So let's discuss the ruling of the court in the case of People versus De Gracia. When the crime is punished by a special law, as a rule, intent to commit the crime is not necessary. It is sufficient that the offender has the intent to perpetrate the act prohibited by the special law. Intent to commit the crime and intent to perpetrate the act then must be distinguished. In the first, dun sa intent to commit the crime, there must be criminal intent. Diba? In the second, dun sa intent to perpetrate the act, it is enough that the act prohibited is done freely and consciously. Thus, in the case of XXX versus People, the court ruled there's a well settled distinction between intent to commit the crime and intent to perpetrate the act. A person may not have consciously intended to commit a crime, but if he did intend to commit an act, and that act is by the very nature of things, the crime itself, then he can be held liable for the malum prohibitum crime. Conversely, if a person did not intend to perpetrate an act which has been defined by law to be the crime itself, then he is not guilty of the act. Thus, as held in the case of Galliano kanina, in mala prohibita crimes, so apply na natin, in mala prohibita crimes, the criminal acts are not inherently immoral but become punishable only because the law says so. With these crimes, the sole issue is whether the law has been violated. Criminal intent is not necessary, for the acts are prohibited for reasons of public policy. Thus, to hold the offender guilty or accountable for the offense, it is sufficient that there is conscious intent to perpetrate the act prohibited by the special penal law. The essence of mala prohibita is voluntariness in the commission of the act constitutive of the crime. Okay? Summarize. If the crime is malainse, again, criminal intent is required. Since criminal intent is required, then what you need to prove there is the intention to commit the crime. And in the case of matalam, it refers to the state of mind beyond voluntariness. Beyond voluntariness because again, you need to prove that this person intended to commit that crime. Okay? That's why if the prosecution failed to prove the intention of the person to commit the crime, failed to prove the criminal intent, failed to prove the guilty mind, failed to prove the mens rea, then there is good faith and the accused will be acquitted. Whereas, if the crime is considered a crime mala prohibita, then what is needed to be proven here is the intent to perpetrate the act. The act punished or defined and punished by a law enacted by Congress by reason of public policy. Not because it is inherently wrong, but by reason of public policy. So in mala prohibita crimes, what must be proven there again? Intent to perpetrate the act must be the prosecution must likewise prove volition or the voluntariness or the knowledge of the perpetrator in doing such act. Okay? So this is how you differentiate intent to commit the crime and intent to perpetrate the act. Thus, in one bar exam question, although hindi siya ganito tinanong, but the idea was, is it required to prove intent in mala prohibita crimes? What do you think? Well, if it is mala inse crimes, no doubt, intent to commit a crime, criminal intent must be proven. Mens rea must be established. Otherwise, the accused will be acquitted due to the absence of criminal intent. But that is for mala inse crimes. What if the crime involved is classified under yun nga, mala prohibita crimes? Is it required to prove intent? The answer is yes. But not criminal intent. Hindi criminal intent. Ano yung ipoprove mong intent if it's mala prohibita? It is the intent to perpetrate the act punished by law. You need to prove volition. You need to prove voluntariness. You need to prove that the person has knowledge of the act that he committed. Okay? There is no need to prove criminal intent again in mala prohibita crimes because again, as held in several cases, criminal intent is not relevant in mala prohibita crimes. But if asked whether you need to prove intent in mala prohibita crimes, yes, but intent to perpetrate the act, not criminal intent. I hope you learned something from this lecture, and I'm just happy that we reached episode 10. I hope there will be more, and thank you for listening.